Hello everybody, welcome to our monthly webinar. Thank you very much for being here with us today. We have a very special guest at our webinar today. She's going to talk to us about technology and the use of educational technology for teaching English. We have with us today Wilma Luth. She is a teacher trainer at Lambton College, and she has a lot of experience as an English teacher. She has a BA in English literature and a master's degree in teaching English as a second language. And today she's going to talk to us about technology, how to use technology as a support for our English lessons and our English plans and teaching English, etc. I know we are a little bit worried because the books are not on time, but we are going to use all the strategies and tools that Wilma is going to talk to us about so that we can prepare our lessons and also to give classes. Well, thank you very much, Wilma, for being here with us today, and let's listen to Wilma.
All right. Thank you, Ruben, for that kind introduction. Yes, my name is Wilma Luth, and as Ruben said, I'm an English language teacher and teacher trainer. As a teacher trainer, I've worked on traditional, online, and blended learning courses with teachers from Canada, the USA, South Korea, China, Costa Rica, Panama, and of course, Mexico. Currently, I'm the facilitator in Lambton College's International Training for English Teaching Professionals program. The agenda for this webinar is there are 3 points I'm going to talk about. The International Training for English Teaching Professionals program, I'll explain that a little bit. The program has 6 courses, including one called Media for Teaching, which deals with the use of technology in the classroom. We'll explore some of the issues involved in the use of technology. We'll think about 3 questions to ask about technology that you'd like to use. We'll look at 3 criteria that will help you choose, and 3 ways to use the technology that you choose. And I'll have some final thoughts to summarize this webinar. The International Training for English Teaching Professionals program, developed by Lambton College in Sarnia, is a 15-week online program designed to give language teachers an overview in all aspects of language teaching. There are 6 courses in the program. First, Teaching Skills. It's an overview of the main areas of ESL and EFL teaching. It covers the 4 skills of speaking, listening, reading, writing, as well as teaching vocabulary and critical thinking. It also introduces participants to the ESSA lesson plan. It's a simple yet versatile student-centered lesson plan. Classroom Management covers all aspects of classroom management for both small and large classes. Participants look at how organizing the physical classroom can help support student learning and develop strategies to successfully manage student behavior. Methodology and Planning deals with language learning theory and specifically communicative language teaching. It explores the socio-linguistic competencies that are integral to CLT and looks at the importance of authentic activities. Understanding the theory behind their practice helps teachers understand and explain why they do what they do in the classroom. We examine 4 types of lessons: task-based learning, discovery learning, the ESSA, Engage, Study, Activate, lesson plan, and PPP, present, practice, and produce. In Media for Teaching, participants explore how instructional media can support learning in specific language skill areas. They also gain first-hand experience in a number of instructional media tools such as social media and online testing tools. In Assessment and Evaluation, We explore the issues and questions related to ongoing formative assessment and summative assessment. Participants examine different types of testing, as well as rubrics, test design, and methods of error correction. As in all the courses, participants will find many practical applications if they keep in mind their own context and learners as they work through the course material. The practicum is a self-directed course in which participants apply what they learned in the entire program to their own teaching practice. Tasks include lesson observations, writing a personal teaching philosophy, and planning and teaching a lesson in their own classroom. Teaching is making choices. This is one of my key teaching principles. Teachers make decisions every day, decisions about what to teach and how to teach, what activities to use and what not to use. It's important to have criteria for the choices that we make. To that end, let's explore 3 criteria or ways to evaluate an activity or kind of technology before deciding what to use. One valuable aspect of communicative language teaching is its focus on authentic or real-world use of language. Authentic means genuine or real. Authentic lessons are relevant and meaningful to the lives of our students. So the first criteria is this activity authentic? In what way is it authentic? Does it have an authentic topic? So does the activity focus on real topics that are meaningful to our students because they're connected to their lives? Does the activity include real-life reasons or purposes to communicate? So the reasons that students communicate with each other or with their friends and families outside of the classroom setting. And does the activity include personal information that students might share about themselves in their everyday lives? Those are the criteria that would make an activity or a technology tool authentic. Another aspect of communicative language teaching is the way it describes the various competencies in which language learners need to gain proficiency. So the second criteria is, what competencies does this activity support? Does the activity help the students develop the communicative competency, the ability to interact and speak naturally? Would they be understandable by native speakers? Does the activity help students develop linguistic competency so they can make grammatical sentences and have near native-like pronunciation? So does the activity help them work on either their grammar skills or pronunciation skills, or maybe both? Does the activity help students learn how to think about who they are talking to and so speak with intention? Does it help them deal with any potential breakdowns in communication? Does it help them develop their strategic competency? The third criteria may seem selfish, but it's important to be practical. Is this activity worth the time that you put into the preparation? If the technology tool takes a lot of time to set up, learn, and eventually master, will you be able to use it with other classes? Actually, this is a good question to ask about any activity that you develop or create. How much time is it going to take? And is the rate of return worthwhile? So teaching is making choices, and I have 3 questions that we can ask about the tools that we are thinking to use. The first is low-tech versus high-tech. So what do you need? Does your technology tool require internet access? If you don't have reliable internet access in the classroom, then it's probably a good idea to choose a low-tech option. If there's no problem with internet access in the classroom, then you have more options. The second question is this going to be used inside or outside the classroom? Can your students do the work in the classroom, or do you want them to do the assignment as homework? What will you need in order to carry it out? And what will your students need in order to carry that out? And then the third question to ask is, what are the ages of your students? The kinds of technology that you can use with small children is quite different than what is possible with older students. Another consideration is that older students very probably have access to their own technology that younger students don't. It's important to be realistic about the technology that you can use in your own context. So teaching is making choices, and there are, I think, several ways, other ways that we can think about when we're thinking about the technology that we want to use. The first is to repurpose technology that students already use. One idea, an advantage of this is that students are already familiar with the technology, so they don't need to learn how to use it. So something to think about. How can I use something that my students already know in a different way? You don't have to teach them how to use it because they'll already know. You simply have to teach them how to think of it in a different way. WhatsApp is a good example of something that many students use every day. Here's one idea that I heard recently. After practicing a dialogue in the class, each pair of students can record their conversation together on WhatsApp and then send it to their teacher for assessment. Making voice recordings is very easy on WhatsApp. So that's a great way to take advantage of technology that students already use. A second use is just follow-up activities with online activities, follow-up in-class activities with online activities. So this could include doing independent research on the internet, or assigning students a video to watch on YouTube is another possible assignment. So the students use the technology outside of the classroom, not in the classroom. And a third option is learn a new technology tool. For example, a class blog. There are many possible uses for a class blog. You could post follow-up messages to the students after class. It could be a place that they access links to homework assignments, and it's a great place for students to post their own writing. Peer editing can be very easy to organize on a class blog. Another idea is to use an LMS. For example, sites like Schoolology or Edmodo provide a lot of support for teachers to organize their classes. Students can communicate with their teachers and classmates, access links to homework assignments, download class documents, and upload assignments. Teachers can use the grading tools that are built in to keep track of their students' grades and progress. It's quite likely that it's the first time for many students to use either tool, a class blog or an LMS. And learning something new very often takes more time than we realize. Make sure to plan for enough support for students so that they don't get discouraged. Then you can take full advantage of all the features of the tech tool that you choose. Before you choose the technology that you want to use, it's important to develop standards and reasons for technology use. If someone asks us why we are using the technology we're using, we don't want to reply because it's fun. Of course, having fun is a positive thing, and research has shown that students learn better when they have an emotional connection to the subject. They learn better when they have positive experiences during the learning process. But the research doesn't say that every time we have fun in the classroom, we're learning. There are several myths about technology. For example, technology always motivates students. I don't know if that's true. Technology is a tool. It's a powerful tool, but it's still just a tool. Using technology won't solve all of your classroom problems. In fact, it can create more problems. It can be distracting and take time away from time spent focused on the language. It can sometimes be seen as entertainment and not really a learning tool. Technology usually isn't instant. It can take a long time to learn how to use a new app or software, and technology sometimes fails. So, In this webinar, we've looked at 3 criteria, 3 questions, and 3 ways to use it. And in the process, we're thinking to develop standards for using technology and how to decide what technology to use. And as a reminder, as I said, technology is a tool, and it's not good or bad in of itself, it's how we use it. So thinking through these questions can help us to make good decisions about what technology to use and how to use it. Finally, 2 words of advice. If you're going to use technology, always have a backup plan. Because if something doesn't work in the classroom, the students will be watching you and waiting for something to happen. And always try out any tech tool before you introduce it to your students. Because you need to know how it works before you can teach someone else how to use it. Thank you for taking the time to watch this webinar. I hope that it helps you in your future teaching. If you would like to explore more issues related specifically to technology use or more generally in language teaching, please contact us about Lambton College's International Training for English Teaching Professionals program. The contact information is on the screen. Thank you. Yes?
I just would like to ask you a couple of questions, if that's okay with
Yes.
you. One of our teachers would like to know if you can suggest a tool or an approach to evaluate the 4 skills in a comprehensive or a global way, using some of the tools you know.
I think 4 skills, having something like a class blog, I think it could be very helpful because students would be writing, maybe posting blog posts.
Mm-hmm.
They could probably record themselves speaking or having conversations and also post that to the blog.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that you could make private. It doesn't have to be a public blog that others can find out. So you can make that private and have that only for the class members.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We have another question.
Sure.
Another teacher would like to know what would you suggest to create or increase our students' interest in learning English? You mentioned that technology by itself
Yes.
doesn't create interest
Right.
automatically.
Yeah.
But how can we make our students engage in learning English?
I think it's interesting that you use the word engage because that's the first step of one of the lesson plan styles. And engage is really important. It's connecting with students' interests. What are they interested, their hobbies, their lives, what do they like to do in their free time? And if they can think about and learn English that's connected to their own interests and to their own lives, I think that really helps a lot for keeping students interested in English.
Okay.
Yeah.
And finally, what recommendation would you give our teachers who are now, the problem that we have now is that the books are not on time, and probably they're going to take like a couple of more weeks to be ready. What can they do to teach proper classes if they don't have the textbooks ready?
They don't have the textbooks ready. I think probably they know the topics in the textbooks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think it's possible to plan some lessons that are connected to the topics that they will be studying eventually.
Okay.
Check out what the grammar is and make some of their own materials, access like YouTube videos or things like that. Also for examples of, say, for example, a conversation using the grammar point that might be in, Unit 2 or something like that. Yeah.
Great.
I think it is possible. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We are sure.
Yes.
Well, Wilma, thank you very much for being with us
My pleasure.
today.
Thank you.
And we hope to see you very soon.
That would be great.
Thank you very much for taking this webinar, and we will be seeing you soon too. Bye-bye.